Hello, welcome to the Facing the Gates podcast. I am Bailey.
I'm Michael.
And I'm David.
And we're going to talk about free will. Now that you know us, now that you know who we are, it's time to get into the fun stuff. Time to get into the deep, the real talk. I mean, not like the other ones weren't real talk, but
we stopped digging holes that you dig in your front yard at 6, and we bought a fucking tractor, and we are digging to China. Okay, so let's see at this.
Okay, I regret letting Michael speak, so I'm just going to continue. Anyway, the topic of this episode is, do we have free will? So, are we truly free to make our own decisions on our own conscious terms? And if so, are there any limitations to that freedom? Or is it possible that free will itself is just a cleverly constructed illusion? So I'm gonna that's the overarching theme of the episode and the launching point for the conversation. So I'm gonna let you guys discuss and kind of lead that. What do you think about that?
All right, with my thoughts as an agnostic theist, that leads...
TM. Go ahead, sorry.
That leads me to believe in ultimate free will. We are creators of our own destiny. We follow our own truths. There's still possibly limitations to it because our truths could be predestined for us. All this shit, because my thoughts and views are just one big ultimate question. Mm-hmm. But I believe in free will. We're kind of here like chess pieces, maybe in a greater scheme, but we still control our own moves and how we go about things and all that. We are the perpetrators of our own destiny. All right, you filthy atheist, how do you feel?
Well, I guess for the idea of free will, it's in the end goal, we do have the free will, but there are certain predispositions that influence and are biased towards kind of what we do. Like, we're predispositioned to do certain things over others.
Yeah. And
also on the idea of is it all illusion? It possibly could be.
But do you have reason to believe that it's an illusion? Do you think it is an illusion?
Well, I mean...
But wouldn't that lead to a religion?
Not necessarily.
A religious view, at least?
Not necessarily, because, I mean, think of humans. We're creatures of habit. We're, you look at people just go about their way. Think of, driving, and you're not even thinking about it.
But we're a sentient...
Look at your routines and shit like that. And, that kind of blank mindset a lot of people have, and just, aimlessly going through the motions.
To you, it's aimlessly.
Well, a lot of people describe, the mundane routine stuff as kind of aimless. And, I mean, though if it is an illusion, it's a very good one. But, I mean, personally, I don't believe that, but it's a fun little thought experiment to play around with from time to time. And it kind of keeps a balance on understanding that, yeah, there's influence to any action you have. Mm-hmm. Because, for example, genetic predispositions for drug use or abuse and the kind of cycles that human nature, if you're in a good household, you're more inclined to do more positive things, where if you come from a cycle of abuse, you yourself are more inclined to respond with abuse.
Right.
So it's not necessarily a fundamental thing, but it is an influencer that leads you being biased towards a certain waypoint.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you still have the choice to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that in the middle of the road answer, because
my dad's a crackhead. I'm not out there fucking smoking meth every day.
Yeah.
I have a choice to fucking choose.
Yeah, but I mean, you and I have looked in our family history, and we found tons of mental health issues, drug addiction, stuff like that. And just looking at the family, we're naturally predisposed to do certain things. Now, do we stray from that path? Yes.
But we have the choice to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, that you are predisposed to do certain things, but in a more meta sense, that
You still
doesn't
have that
change. You still
free
have
will.
that choice.
Yeah.
You might be more inclined to do a certain
Like,
thing
dude,
because of genetics
if I
or
go
whatever
smoke
it may be.
meth tomorrow, it's my choice.
Yeah, and though I also think for certain people that predisposition is stronger, that could lead to that kind of idea. Because, like, for example, a lot of addicts feel like they're just doomed to be stuck in that cycle because of all the shit that happened to them. So in a way, that could kind of seem like a kind of you're determined to do this for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of that kind of illusion mindset.
It's more of a fine balance.
I mean, because even in positions where they say you don't have a choice, you still have a choice.
Yeah.
It just might not be able to be,
It might not be as easy of a choice.
or it might not be able to work right this moment, but you have a choice.
Yeah.
Except Jeffrey Epstein because he fucking killed himself. But like,
He did not kill himself.
Oh boy.
No, he didn't.
Different day, different discussion, different podcast.
But he still had a choice. It just wasn't gonna fucking work because they murdered him, but he had a choice at least. And we all have choices to make. But how do you feel about this, you good Christian son?
I think we have free will. I'm a good old merc and believing in our free choices and whatnot. I don't believe that we are entirely in control of literally everything in our lives. There is a certain threshold. I mean, like, you can't stop someone from dying. You're not, all powerful. You are morally culpable for the choices that you make in your life.
But you have the choice to help them if they need your help.
Yeah, you can do what you can do, but you do have a limit to what you can
You
do.
can't play God.
Yeah. So I mean that's where I stand. I don't fall into like the determinist, like, predestination kind of view, which we're going to talk more about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think this also ties into our different
Calvin.
views of free will and freedom and just period, how we all think of it.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, the free will discussion, it's a debate between. It's not just a debate between religious people. It's a debate in the secular world as well. So I mean, like, there are, certain religious people or certain secular people that believe that they're completely free agents, and there are others from both sides of the fence that believe that it's just an illusion and that everything is, just predetermined.
That sounds kind of depressing as fuck. I guess to outsiders it sounds depressing
Yeah,
as fuck.
but I could see from an inside perspective, it could be kind of liberating because you just accept the day-to-day mundane.
I mean, but I'm
Whatever
also
actions have happened because you're set to do that.
I'm also imagining like a little old grandma like, oh, this is all going to happen. Let's go bank some 20-year-old dude and smoke some crack because it's all going to happen.
This is why I wanted to talk about this so early on, is because whether or not you believe in free will is so fundamental in how you perceive the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you believe that everything you do has an impact on you and other people, that's going to change the way you act. If you think you're just predetermined to do whatever, then you're going to be really passive about your choices in life. So, I mean, it's just very fundamental. So I thought it was really important that we discuss this specifically first. And I think we all mostly agree on it anyway. I figured it'd be probably good to start on something that we agree on and disagree on. But I mean, that also just happened to be a coincidence probably. But yeah. So I mean, like, from the religious perspective, there are people that are, like, for Christians, they believe in libertarian free will. And then there's also, which I think is the majority of Christians, but there's also, like,
Calvinists,
people who disbelieve in it, like Calvinists, who would say that basically God has determined everything and free will is just an illusion, or there are limits in free will. And I don't know if I'm being completely charitable to this position. I don't want to misrepresent them, but they probably wouldn't outright tell you, like if you were talking to a Calvinist, they probably wouldn't outright tell you that, like,
Nothing matters.
yeah, it doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah, because they're not a filthy atheist.
Because, I mean, they're still going to try and talk to you. They're still going to live as if they had free will.
Yeah, and I mean,
Which is partly a problem.
At least from like a few of my history teachers, a few of them have stated like Calvinism is more, not necessarily, it's like more of a predestination for heaven or hell.
Yeah.
Instead of like the actions that get you there.
Yeah, so I mean, it's an interesting debate because there's different philosophical views on God's knowledge and different views that have been had from, you know, in church history, from like the early church fathers to philosophers and theologians throughout the years. So I mean, like, Calvinism, I think, is specifically, if we're talking about that, I think that's a little bit of an extreme. I do think, obviously, he draws off of places in the Bible that, you know, like, that seem like God has known everything and planned everything. But there's two ways of going about that. Number one, just because, let's say God does know everything, that, number one, doesn't mean that has an effect on how you act, because God didn't determine you to act that way.
He just knows you.
He just knows what you're going to do.
You know, because he is kind of beyond time, in a sense.
Yeah, and you don't know what he knows, so it's really, if I went...
And if it's for the good, he might try to help you steer in the right direction.
So, like, one analogy I heard was, like, let's say that you were going to go to the grocery store tomorrow, and so I went into a time machine and I time traveled to tomorrow and said, you're going to go to the grocery store. That's not going to stop you. You're still going to do it. You know, so it doesn't matter if I know that you're going to the grocery store. It's going to happen either way. Just because I know something doesn't mean it changes the effect. So it's kind of a similar thing with God. So, I mean, like, that's how I would parse that part, where it does seem that God obviously knows things that we don't. But, I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say that he's calculated and determined everything, because I feel like with determinism, basically anything that you do has no point, because you're basically just a puppet and you're programmed, or a robot, you're programmed to do what you're gonna do.
All robots go to heaven 2020.
No, only some of them. Some of them are killbots.
You guys have anything to say about that, or you just want me to keep preaching, or what?
I mean, it's so crazy to try to wrap my head around not being able to choose whether it's already known or the effects, or because at the end of the day, we're all just kinetic energy and kinetic choices that haven't been made or pushed through yet. Is how I kind of view everything.
I can kind of get into that mindset because, like, for example, if someone told me, like, yeah, here's where you're, like, if I was, say, a Christian, someone was like, yeah, you're heading to heaven or hell, and that's your predetermined fate. I guess in some ways, at least, I have the biggest question answered. What happens when I die? Mm-hmm. And
but what
regardless of the choices I make, I know I'm going there. So at least you get that big if.
But that would mean that someone would be able to come back in time, like, hey, you're going to fucking hell, you piece of shit.
Well,
and wouldn't that influence you? Because at the end of the day, none of us know who's going to heaven. None of us know who's going to hell. It's kind of like
the butterfly effect in action with the time travel.
I feel like,
I guess because, as I said, I don't believe in it, but thinking of like a person in that time, especially say like a poor person or even a richer person.
Going to hell would not make me feel better if I'm poor right now.
It would still put the mind at ease for the question being answered, regardless if it's good or not. Now, could it possibly cause more turmoil? Yes. But I don't think they were just going to say, you're going to hell quite as often as, yeah, you'll go to heaven, don't worry about it.
I feel like both having free will and both not having free will are both can be both two self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yeah, because,
Yeah.
I mean, devil's advocate, if they say you have free will, what's to stop you from doing literally any fucking thing?
Because you have the choice not to do fucked up shit, and you're not going to
Yeah,
do it.
If you
you're
have
not,
if you can do anything that is good or bad,
Yeah.
who's to say it wasn't
You have-
predestined, though?
Yeah. So that
That
might
all-
be another reason why people kind of were in that kind of Calvinistic idea, is maybe it was like their way of centering themselves
I feel like
and
this
just accepting things and kind of living as they live instead of pushing the boundaries to complacency, because complacency is a dangerous thing.
See, I feel like most
Like,
of all,
as you were saying when we were asking you questions in one of the last ones, that kind of, if you're stagnant, you're basically falling behind. But in that place of stagnancy, that complacency, it's very comfortable because nothing changes. You know your routine. We are, by nature, habitual. So if you can just keep that routine and just know something's going to happen in the end, you're pretty predisposition. Kind of just be comfortable with that.
yeah,
And I mean, and a lot of times you were just kind of stuck being in your kind of caste and the kind of the caste system. You were just kind of stuck being a peasant.
you
There
know
were
what's
no,
bad?
especially back in the older times when the wealth disparity was even greater.
What's bad is I could honestly see myself on either side of the argument, thinking about it more, depending on the day, since I am essentially undecided.
Yeah.
I have everyone trying to sign me to their team, but I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, I've had those thoughts of everything is literally just fucking motions in my head. I'm not controlling it, but also then I can do something different. And
Yeah. And
like right now, it's very much stuck in the free will. I have that choice. I have that opportunity because, I mean, I really hope I do. If not, it's a really good illusion.
yeah. I think free will is intuitive. I mean, like, if I say I have the choice to pick up that spoon and drop it, or to not do it, I feel like I could follow up and actually prove whether
Yeah.
or not that's true.
But one thing I want to bring up is instinct, because like for example, at the doctor's office, he hits your knee with the little hammer, and your knee
Yeah.
shoots up.
yeah,
That wasn't free will. That was your body's natural reaction to it.
yeah, but that's not a moral decision.
Well,
That's
no.
not like a choice that you make.
Because, well, kind of think of that, because a lot of people just run by instinct, not just thinking about it. They'll just say something, or the slip of tongues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I guess
I think that would just fall under their dispositions, like their predisposed things to do, because they're just on autopilot.
Yeah.
I don't think that necessarily rules out free will.
it
but
necessarily doesn't, but I guess it's not. Well, it's not just that binary, because like a predisposition kind of falls more into the habitual, the kind of predetermined actions someone would take if they're not thinking about it.
But also, wouldn't someone who disagrees with free will say that all this has been designed before us, and even us speaking
Yes.
upon free will, would there in itself be able to be proven that it's not in the
Yeah.
greater scheme of things due to the greater
But
good?
same,
The problem with determinism and the lack of free will belief is you were claiming that that free will doesn't exist, but you're using your own mental faculties to prove that. How can you prove that free will doesn't exist?
But how can you prove that it does?
It's intuitive. I can make a choice or I can not make a choice.
Unless-
But then the Calvinist or the determinist is just
Yeah.
going to say,
And-
"Oh, well, that was just
So
predetermined."
We're running in
But
circles.
You're assuming the conclusion. either way.
Yeah.
But you're assuming the
So
start
it's-
of the
yeah.
outcome.
It's just
So,
kind
yeah.
of a personal belief at this point right now until we can have something.
Until we die, and it's like, yeah, dude, you had no choice. Or you made the right choices, my child.
It's just, I guess you can see it as kind of two different mindsets, at least from like how I would view it. Now, say if I look more into the Calvinist lifestyle and stuff, I might have a different mindset towards it. But coming as an outsider, I see it as that kind of comfortable place of complacency.
Yeah, but also, if you look at the two schools of nihilism, I feel either of them you could fall into free will and non-free will with either of them, but I definitely could see what is the school of thought? Because there's existentialists and then there's the other one where you're like the God back in, I want to say Greek, or the person, you're pushing the rock up the hill and the hill's never ending.
Oh,
We all know what I'm talking about, but none of us can remember the fucking name. So if you got the name,
I know what you're talking about. I don't
hit
know.
us
We
up
talked
on
about this in
Twitter.
history class
Hit us up on Twitter.
back in
Yeah.
like 7th grade.
Facing
but-
the Gates on Twitter.
I could see where you could get in that mindset where you don't have free will, but you're okay with it because you're constantly moving, you're distracted, this and that. And it gives you, as David said, that peace of mind where it's okay to be doing what you're doing because you're supposed to be doing it. Like a child being told, hey, good job at reading your book over the summer because you're supposed to be doing it. And he did it out of complacency
And conditioning.
acceptance.
Yeah, I think that this may or may not, this might be a completely unrelated tangent, but I think in the religious sense, the problem with the Calvinist view that everything is predetermined and everything is predestined, that leads to very big theological problems with God because it makes God the author of evil directly and makes God the person who determines who is going to hell, who's going to heaven, and what kind of God would want people to be predisposed to go to hell.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of the issue with the view upon Christianity and God being an omniscient God. Is that the right word? All-knowing.
Yeah.
Is if God helped create evil and knows upon arrival who is going to heaven and hell, arrival upon earth, not arrival upon the afterlife.
Right.
I think that's a lot of, and especially with people like me, a lot of the issue with an all-knowing God and also a vengeful God at the same time is that knowing of everything that has and will ever be at this singular moment.
Yeah, I'm struggling to kind of understand and figure out where exactly I stand on the whole God's omniscience thing. But what you might be referencing some other episodes that we're going to cover at some point, like the problem of evil and the doctrine of hell, which are two really big objections to Christianity.
Yeah. Well, these are also just things that have floated in my mind forever. So that's probably why they're coming to the surface.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those, especially the problem of evil, that's just an issue against the existence of God, period. Which obviously we'll get into that when we record that episode.
Yeah,
but
'cause
basically it is, how can an all-loving God allow the existence of evil?
See, I have an answer, but I'm not going to say it now.
Yeah. I do too. I was working on the outline for that earlier today, so
But I just have a general answer I live by, so.
yeah.
And I mean, I guess to tie into that, one of my favorite shows kind of said the best way to be God is make it seem like you don't exist at all.
R.I.P. the little planet lived on Bender's ass.
Okay, my name's David. I make funny atheist joke.
Well, no, I mean, it's a really well said thing because, like,
We need to watch
in
it.
that
is that-
example, like the determinist, like, you're God sending a heavy hand, you're going straight to hell when you're made. But letting you kind of make that free will choice and guide.
It's all just a clever ruse.
And then to break down the episode
Pretty fucked up.
to break down the episode a little bit, floating through space, Bender becomes God and then speaks to God and goes, "Damn, this God thing's pretty hard."
I saw you were doing well until everyone died.
Yeah, that's the gist of the whole
Good
thing.
episode.
It's we need to watch the episode before we talk about the problem. of
Yeah,
evil and all that.
Godfellas is what
Okay.
it's called.
Okay.
But back to our conversation about free will.
I should probably continue with like the actual
Probably.
conversation. Okay, so I guess the argument for free will, obviously in the Christian sense, is number one, we're able to think about making free choices, whether we do or not, whether to do or not to do something. Two, we possess the power to actualize either possibility of those choices. And three, therefore, we have free will. And I guess the question there is, does that cause issues for God's omniscience? If we have choices and we could choose to do anything, God knows everything.
So he would know all the choices we could make.
Does he know all the possible choices, or does he know all the actual choices, or does he know both?
Yeah.
It's complicated. What do you think?
Oh, it's fuck. As someone who struggles with all this shit.
I think if he's fully omniscient, yes. It's just a general answer. But I guess...
Now,
if
what
he's
do you mean by
omniscient,
fully omniscient?
All knowing.
all-knowing? And
But what do you mean by all knowing?
he knows every which way, every pathway, every direction.
So he also knows the way you pick.
Yes. But
Okay,
I
thank you
guess
for
in the
clearing that
idea
up.
of free will, he would allow that choice so you can either A, learn from it, become a better person, or B, make the right choice, or C, understand your faults and kind of keep that in the tally.
And D, you go to hell.
Well, that's more so in C, because like if you don't learn from it, he's kind of tallying that as kind of
Yeah, but that doesn't
a
mean
big oof moment.
who says
as
that
the
means
kids
you
would
go to
say.
hell? Just a big oof moment. You
Well,
can,
what happened if it's major? What happened if it's a big boy sin? What happened if he
all
was
sin is
testing you there?
sin.
All right.
But you know what I mean.
Meta as fuck.
But
You
I guess
know
what you're
I mean.
saying, what you're trying to say is like, if you do something that's going to incline you to do something else, which will set you on a path towards hell,
Yeah, essentially, and God knows that
which that thing you may do
Yeah, and if-
may not be the thing that necessarily
He would want
damns
you to do,
but it may
yeah.
incline you. Like I said, everything you
it could
do
perpetuate.
yeah.
But yeah, so if he, as kind of how I see it, if he's omniscient, but you have free will, he understands that whatever the decision you're going to make, the path you're going to take, but he still lets you make that choice because, I mean, he's past time and space essentially.
Yeah, and
He's everything at once. So
and
he
just
knows,
because he knows something, does that necessarily mean that you could do something otherwise?
I would.
I'm just throwing out like
If he's all knowing
hypothetical
and like
questions,
as I
but-
say, he's past like the concept of time and space. Because
Yeah.
I mean, he's God. If he's all knowing, he knows everything. He knows what path you're going to take, but he's going to let you make that choice for yourself and kind of.
he didn't influence you to make the choice.
Yeah,
He just knew what you would do.
yeah, and I guess
But
playing
is that not predestination?
no, because predestination will be more so like
But he knows what you're doing.
look.
He's watching you jerk off in the shower.
I
Okay,
guess it
you're
could,
sinning.
It could be.
You are sinning, sir.
It could be seen either way, honestly, because like you're still making that choice for yourself.
Yeah.
Here.
But he already knows it.
It's complicated, isn't it?
Okay, can I
Where
phrase-
say if
God, to
because
be an atheist, you
thinking
ramble
predestination
about this.
more so like being a puppet, he knows what you're going to do and he's going to make sure you do it.
Well,
Right.
here, look. All right.
Because I guess the idea of God just being like this current moment, because and not just like out of time, out of space, it is a very different thing because we were taught like God is beyond our scope of thought.
No question.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Bailey,
What's good?
what is your personal views on if God is all-knowing and if we have free will?
Oh, I was hoping you weren't going to ask me because I don't know.
Well,
I'm just kidding. Okay.
I was about to say, that's
I know
honest.
everything. No, I'm just kidding. I actually don't know everything.
What are
My
your
God.
current hopes?
So one viewpoint that I may not think this is the best view of God's omniscience, but it is certainly helpful. And it is the one that I'm most exposed to based on some of my research I've done. It's a view on God's omniscience called Molinism. And I told you about this a little bit before, but basically, God has different types of knowledge. He has knowledge of things that could be, like all the possible choices, and I'm probably going to bastardize the formalization for this, but he knows like what you could do. You know, that's his middle knowledge. He knows all the choices that you could make. And then he has his actual knowledge, which is what actually happens. And based on, you know, what he knows about the situation and what he knows about you, he can kind of make an educated guess to figure out what you would do.
All right, so essentially you still have that chance to throw him off for a little bit.
It's a logical deduction that God could make, but while I say that, it's also important to mention that God is outside of time and space, and we're trying to describe God's knowledge in terms of time.
Yeah.
So
And
that's the
space.
hardest part.
that makes it very complicated because
But I guess,
God is ineffable. His methods are beyond what we can describe with
Yeah.
our words.
But I guess the Molinism kind of puts the idea of explaining free will.
It's hard to understand, but it at
In a
least
way.
formulates it in a way that we can start to understand it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's the end point. That's actually how it works.
It's a
When we
good
go
little
to heaven, God's gonna be like, "Yep, Molinism is the way to think about it."
It's
but
a good kind of thought process for the beginning of trying to contemplate stuff.
Well,
It's that stepping door.
right,
to bring it to earthly views, what would you hope God is like in this aspect at this current moment? Because I have my answer. Mm-hmm. Would you like me to answer first?
yeah, go ahead.
For me personally, I would rather all-knowing God minus the knowing which step I'm gonna take, because I lean more towards the like handoff approach. I don't mind the all-knowing. I get
Sorry about all the squeaking, guys. I'm squeaky.
because higher power is beyond our grasp.
Yeah,
So therefore, the higher power could easily know every possible move. And, you know, if you believe in other dimensions and shit, that higher power could be looking at all of those at once outside of our space and time. Not that that's true or not, because I have no way to prove that.
Right,
We were
yeah.
discussing that earlier, but
hypotheticals.
I feel more honest and safer in a sense in a God that knows every move but not every action on this plane. Not in the sense of everything that I could do is on a fucking list. It's just waiting for me to check the list.
Right. I think like
But that's just what I guess I'm comfortable
Yeah,
with.
in the dots of having free will.
yeah.
I guess if you want to go like in the surefire way to get to heaven, I guess you would want more so of a heavy-handed approach of just directing you straight to heaven. Do not pass go. Do not collect $100. Go directly to heaven.
Sounds awful.
But that's also very
that's-
predeterministic. That's
problematic if you're not destined for heaven.
Yeah.
Because what's the point of those people even existing if they're not going to do anything but go to hell in the
Yeah.
end?
I mean,
Unless-
that's kind of...
Unless you're one of them nihilist
I kind of had an
weirdos.
idea of your thoughts of free will just because of that big if. What, like, why have people going directly to hell? That's like going to jail in Monopoly, pulling that card. Oh, well, fuck, I'm going to jail. I mean, unless you have a lot of properties, but then you're just cashing in.
Yeah, you asked me like what I would prefer. I would kind of like you basically prefer a hands-off approach. Like, we want to be able to make our own choices, but because I'm Christian, obviously we believe that God is involved with his creation in some ways. He does intervene supernaturally in some ways, but it's not like he forces a hand so much.
Kind of like a guide on the mountain. He's not going. You're still going to have to climb the mountain yourself, but he will show you the path if you allow him.
That's kind of the point of the Holy Spirit, is to guide you in essence. He knew of the time and place when to put Jesus where he would grow up and not get beaten up and killed before he was crucified. He knew who was the king and who would condemn him. He knew that basically he would get crucified and that everything would go according to plan given the situation. So
I mean, that's different though. That's a holy plan.
But isn't everyone's life a holy plan?
Not necessarily. Some motherfuckers just evil.
I think you're right. I think it is a little bit different with Jesus. That might be a
because
bad
that's
example.
God going like,
Because that's his divine plan.
that's God.
And Jesus is God incarnate.
Yeah. So that's different to me.
So, I mean, like...
Yeah, that's more just like strategic planning.
Yeah.
That
I
work.
mean, that's a very smart
But the
strategic
thing is,
plan, but...
he's only in quote-unquote control of one chess piece, and that's Jesus. He's not in control of what the other people are doing.
He
But
knows
what if he...
the dots, the kind of mindsets
I mean,
and actions.
what if somebody
people
else
can make.
killed him before he was able to be
hold
crucified
up.
for his sins?
We'd have a whole
We're
different
thinking
book.
about this on an earthly view.
Everyone's sins. Sorry, not his sins. But yeah. go
From
ahead.
a human view. We're talking about a power that may or may not be that is absolutely fucking immaculate in size and knowledge.
Yes.
An all knowing being.
Yep.
Couldn't that being who is beyond space, time, and humanly knowledge be able to see everything at once and just flash?
I think that's the theory I hold to about how
So
God exists.
Wouldn't he
Because
also...
all time, we view time linearly, like there's the past and the future. But for God, all time exists. It just is. That's why...
Either that, or I could see it like exist in two time frames, like before the new creation.
or maybe there's some kind of eternal time.
Yeah.
Where time works differently.
Or this is all just like a DVD and God's going, where should I put Jesus? Oh, I really like this part. This would be dope. This will all work to plan.
And then he just has like an Excel sheet of everyone who is in heaven.
It runs
and when
calculations.
The last person's out of Earth.
God is a D&D creator.
There actually is a reference in Revelation to the Book of Life. Who is written in the Book of Life is going to be in the kingdom of heaven.
What about the game of life? I'll
The
beat
game
all
of
y'all's
life?
asses. I got them spinner skills.
What are you talking?
The
This is-
board
this is
game.
what- This is what happens when we let Michael go off on his tangent.
Yeah.
All right, so let's...
But I bring good points.
Yeah, no,
pe-
it's fine. You
I-
just come up with weird shit sometimes.
And I'm just
But
seeing it
religion's
more
weird
so
to think
in
about from a humanly
religious
view.
viewpoint, because I mean, we're talking about more
'Cause-
religious viewpoints, and I'm a filthy atheist.
Yeah, you shouldn't be here. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
But I mean, I guess
It's interesting discussion, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
like,
anyone-
it's interesting to think, because, like,
Yeah.
even when you said, you were like, I think I believe in free will, and you started thinking about it, you're like, wait a minute, I don't know if I believe in free will. Because it seems obvious, like, oh, of course I believe in free will,
Yeah.
and then you start thinking about it, you're like, wait a minute.
And I guess I
Does
have
your-
a kind of hybrid approach where I do believe ultimately we have free will, but we also have instincts, habits, dispositions
Yeah.
that are not necessarily the absence of free will, but it is a bias that leads us away from making it clear.
It's an intuition.
See, think about a video game character.
Well,
Do they have...
No, they don't, because you're controlling them.
Da, 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 da!
Or a
Think
program's
about it.
controlling
We
them.
could all just be different fucking video game
Well, that's
characters.
that's simulation theory, and,
And we could just be
Yeah, we'll
me-
talk about that later.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's weird.
But then you
like
don't
it as
have
a
free
thought
will.
experiment.
But you think you have free will because you're shown.
It appears that you have free will.
Yeah, that's as I said. the
Yeah, so you
illu-
think.
if it's an illusion, it's a damn good one.
Which I guess in that sense, I think anyone could easily get behind that, but also disprove it, but not disprove it. Free will
But
is
do you
such...
have reason to believe? Okay, so like, it seems intuitive that we have free will. It is technically possible that we don't have free will. When I was interviewing you, I was like, well, it's technically possible that you're just you're a butterfly dreaming that you're a human.
That would be pretty dope to wake up as a butterfly.
But do you have reason to believe that?
Did Schrodinger's cat have a reason to believe it was alive or dead?
I don't know what you're referencing.
Because it's a cat. You never heard of
I
Schrodinger's
do, but
cat?
I don't. It's not ringing a
Where
bell.
in a box, it is both alive and dead at the same time.
Just like we at the same time.
Essentially, the absence of knowing. Well, I'm about to bastardize this. Forgive me. Kind of the absence of knowing its state leaves it in two states.
Okay, the thought experiment. You put a cat in a box with a bomb.
Uh-huh.
And you don't know if the bombs went off, so therefore you don't know if the cat is alive or dead.
So
That doesn't mean you can make a knowledge claim on if it's alive or dead. It means you don't know.
It's simultaneously alive and dead.
No, it means you don't know.
It's a reference towards... All right, what I'm trying to get
Also,
at,
if you put a bomb in a fucking box, the box is going to explode.
but in an alternate universe, it could not explode.
it's a dot experiment. It's not supposed to be taken
Well,
literally.
here's my
Yeah.
here it
And
is. I'm going to take it literally. All right.
Let me wrap this around real quick.
Go ahead.
This is the Schrodinger's cat of religious questions, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because there's no way, unless you gain that knowledge of omniscience. If there is omniscience, you can't. We can talk till we're blue in the face about it, but there's no way to prove it.
Was there a way to disprove it?
No. And that's the problem.
Yeah,
If we could prove or disprove, we'd be a lot happier.
that's like, alternate universes. We can't prove it,
Yeah.
but we haven't been able to be like, okay, this is all-knowing knowledge. There's no fucking other alternate universes. You guys are just fucking stupid.
All right. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put forth the argument against free will for you. Again, also in the Christian sense.
I feel like we're arguing both ways at this point.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't even know anymore. I probably could have brought better arguments for free will because I think pretty much any evidence is pretty conclusive that we have free will because it's just so unintuitive to believe that we don't. But anyway, we'll get into that.
But boom.
So the argument against free will is again coming from the Christian side of things. Number one, God knows what a choice a human would make. 2, that choice becomes necessary and could not be otherwise. 3, if God knew this choice would be made, then nothing else is possible. 4, therefore, choices are not free, they are determined by God. So the question there is, does this preclude determinism and predestination?
I guess in the largest scope, in the view of God, yes.
What is a human?
In the personal,
Here we go.
the single spirit aspect, you don't know that he knows. So if you believe in free will, you're making that free choice. Unless you're trying to make that free choice and then you just can't. So it would ultimately, you would be believing that it is free will, even though it's not.
What does being a human mean? In that sentence.
You're on this earth, you have a spirit.
Hold up.
A human being that is like a living creature, in my view, with a soul that has conscious abilities to make choices. That's a really vague description of what a human is, but it's also like 2 a.m. in the morning.
They're mammals.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
what?
hairy. Some of them are hairier than others.
If
Some of
God,
them are shorter than others.
if
Some of them are
God-
thicker than others.
They're of the Homo
hella
sapien.
thick. But if God knows who's going to heaven, who's going to hell,
What's the point?
Well, I mean,
why would he talk about the angels in a kind of derogatory term?
Yeah, why would Satan fall away from God if
Yeah.
well,
he
if God
didn't
known
have
that.
free will to do that?
or what happens if in that kind of plane of
Or
existence,
what if it's all a Jesus planet and we're all just chess pieces being moved around?
yeah. But the kind of
This sounds like a stoner hypothetical.
as I was
We're
saying,
just asking
And
questions. At
none
this
of
point.
us are stoned. We're just answering questions with questions because we don't know.
I mean, though it depends on the scope of it. Like if you're that individual and you believe in free will, you'll have free will.
I want to meet like someone like a flat earther, but for
in
each of these views.
the higher up you go in that omniscient idea, the less free will you will notice.
Yep. Yeah.
So
I mean, Calvinism is the logical conclusion of God's omniscience.
Bro, this should be a Twitter poll.
I mean,
Do we have free will?
So, I guess-
All right, I'll put it up
so I
on
guess
Twitter
in a
when this episode goes
religious
out.
sense,
And reply to it.
everybody's
with your
right.
view.
It just depends on the scope. If you're thinking as a human on our level and you believe in free will, yeah. But if you're an all-knowing past time and space being and you know everyone's actions and their choice of actions, you know you can kind of have a game plan down of what they're going to do. So therefore there's no free will on that person's part.
Well, here, let's look at it this way. Why did God choose to make beings that could fall away from him? That have that possibility. If free will didn't exist, why didn't God just make robots that are all going to go to heaven? But I believe it's because we do have free will, and he values our choices and our autonomy and our ability to choose to do good and to choose him.
Though I guess it also falls down to the kind of original sin idea. Because I'm not quite sure if God was expecting Mr. Satan, the snake, to be like,
snake.
Eat the apple, bitch.
here's
Fuck your wife without a
essentially here's
condom.
free will, here's that choice, and Eve just ate the fucking apple like an asshole.
Yeah,
Now
what a
we're
fucking
here.
bitch.
Come on.
And then boom, we notice first, like, oh yeah, we're naked, and then a little bit
Damn
later,
it, they had to be like, oh, we're naked, let's sexualize it. I
guess-
want to see titties everywhere.
so I guess
Man and women.
he maybe not necessarily had the kind of thought that, say, Satan was going to play a big part in this. Satan just kind of showed up like an asshole, not saying in his goddamn place, and was like, yeah, here, make this choice, join my side, the dark side.
I'm just imagining God pulling
But I
Satan
don't know.
aside like a manager. Hey, we need to talk about this incident at
Because
work today.
that could all
Well, the thing is, I think that
be like played in a certain way, or maybe God made a wager with saying like, hey, I bet I can make these people and they'll stick with me no matter what.
Well, I think that in God's omniscience, he knew that it was possible for Satan to fall away and for Satan to tempt
Yeah.
Eve and Adam, but he is also all-powerful. He's omniscient and omnipotent. So he allowed Satan to have that power, but
He allowed the people to make that choice as well.
yeah, but he also didn't give Satan so much power that he could overthrow God. He didn't give him that much power. He
Yeah.
set a threshold to that.
That's kind of a dick move. Like,
Yeah,
you
he
can
gave him a Tim
like,
Keller
you
says.
you can pinch me, but you can't just like stab me.
He
Tim
put them on
Keller's-
enough of a leash to hang themselves.
Tim Keller says that exact thing. He's like, he gave Satan enough rope to hang himself.
Sounds like a fun activity.
That sounds like a dick.
It's like
I mean,
fucking
it's a
watching
smart move, because like if you have Satan aggravating you about shit, it's like, here's this little bit you can do.
It's
Yeah.
like when you see
Leave me
those shitty
alone.
dog owners with like mean ass dogs on a rope and you walk past them, you just see them fucking
just yank.
yeet towards you, and all of a sudden their whole body goes, "Aroo?"
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I guess
Got him on a leash.
I feel like this is a thought experiment more than anything.
Yeah,
Just
and
to,
I guess you could like, it depends on what kind of how you think of the situation, because like as I said, it could have been like, God didn't really expect Satan to really want to play this part, Satan was doing Satan shit.
I think it also helps to look at it in a practical sense and say, like, okay, if I believe that my choices have impact in what I do, then that's going to make me contemplate a little bit more over the choices that I make. Whereas if I believe that, well, I was just going to do it anyway, you're probably going to think a little bit less about what you do.
I mean,
and I think that, if nothing else, the practicality of the worldview should inform the way that you live.
Even though it's counterintuitive, I could also see people think, well, I'm determined to make this decision. I'll make sure I'm making the right decision.
I feel like
Even
our
though it
viewers
sounds-
are confused.
Yeah. I mean, because no matter what, it will always loop back around, because you can word things differently, like, say I just did, and have kind of the viewpoints of both people.
I feel like
Well,
Just because you're determined to do something doesn't mean that you're going to do it.
Yeah. But
It just
if
means you're predisposed. You're planning on it.
But if you're predetermined to do it,
that
I mean, you might as well.
you're using similar terminology, but
Yeah.
that doesn't necessarily mean the same thing.
Yeah, but think of a regular ass person that's not thinking hard about this. They're going to think, as my mom said,
Well, that's their
if you're
problem.
going to do it right, well, if you're going to do it right.
Yeah.
dude, the dog agreed. So
I mean,
I guess
Your dog is
I don't
struggling,
know.
dude.
This shit's a little trippy.
Yeah. What do you think, Michael?
I still kind of fall in like this. I kind of like thinking about the scope of it all.
We started out like, yes, this is what we believe, and now we're like, what the fuck are we even talking about
I still
anymore?
believe in how I believe, but I also don't believe in a God. I just like playing these little,
Thought experiments.
yeah.
see, I've said what I hope to believe. So
Yeah.
But what do you believe right now?
What do you believe right now, Michael? Has this conversation changed? Are you changing your own mind, or is someone else changing it for you?
Yeah, maybe I'm changing it for
gosh.
you.
fucking fuck me, man. There's no right or wrong answer because I don't know.
Oh, but is there? All right, I'm sorry. I need to stop asking rhetorical questions.
Just Jesus.
He's predetermined to answer.
Free
these.
will is just
Get
a
him to
big ass
answer it, goddammit.
rhetorical. We don't know. We have what we
Or do? Okay, I'm sorry. I
we
need to
have
stop.
what we think we know. But the greatest thing about knowledge is knowing you don't know shit. So that's why I want to leave my part at. I
Yeah.
don't know anything.
Yeah, so I guess
I'm retarded.
the thing I want to leave this on is like, where does the evidence lead? What do you think is more likely and more plausible? What do you think makes more sense?
And I don't mean retarded.
And I
in
mean,
like
it
a
also
fucked up way.
what makes you live a better life? Because like, if you're fine with just being complacent, then yeah, predeterminism sounds pretty comfy. I'm not gonna lie, it sounds comfortable just doing.
But that could also be a bad thing.
Yeah. Oh,
Because it'd be like,
It's-
I could be predetermined to be an alcoholic, and I just
Yeah.
got to deal with it because I'm
a fucking alcoholic.
genetically predisposed to be an alcoholic.
it depends on the person's mind view as
Oh,
well.
yeah, dude.
But
Dude.
like for me, the idea of free will is a very attractive, because it's like I can just do what I feel.
Yeah, and also we live as if we have free will.
Yeah.
We live as if the choices we make matter.
So why not just keep that?
Why not just say we have free will?
Or do we or do they? That's the question.
So the fuck up.
Who's they?
I'm
Who's the
pretty,
capital they
I
that
feel
you're
like I
talking
have free
about?
will, so I'm gonna keep having free will.
Yeah.
Are they? No one knows.
Though I mean, it also depends on, as I said, your mind view and everything. But I mean, whichever one makes you live a better life, be a nicer person, be better, follow that. I don't care.
And if you got anything to add to this conversation,
Because like I've
Yeah.
lived most of my life just going with the flow, but I mean, I still make choices.
let
Yeah.
us know how you feel. Do we have free
As
will? Do we
Bailey
not?
goes, in a lot
Why?
of
Why
situations,
not?
I just go with the flow.
Yeah. Go
But
ahead.
I also make choices for myself.
Yeah, just like you decided to go over me.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I love you.
Okay. Yeah, well,
Okay,
like
Dr. Pat.
Michael was saying, like, you know, we've kind of been all over the place, and I've asked a lot of rhetorical questions, and I just want to, like, incite some conversation and get people thinking. So if you guys want to get in contact with us, you can email us at facingthegatespod@gmail.com.
Yeah, we finally have social media, so I don't have to ask you stupid questions every
Contact
time.
info, and you can follow us on social media at Facing the Gates on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Or you can also like DM us on there or whatever if you want to get in contact that way.
Ask us some questions.
yeah, ask
Maybe
us
we'll
some
throw
questions.
some polls up. Who knows?
Yeah,
man?
we'll probably, if you guys remind me, I'll do a poll when this episode goes out on do we have free will, and I'll put it out after this episode so we can get some thoughts on where people stand. And if you want to join in on the discussion, just hit us up on social media or
I mean, and we
have your own discussions
we
with
could
people around
possibly
you.
touch back up on this subject a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Do a
man.
little bit more research, because this is more like just how we feel.
yeah.
But we could also look into different mindsets and whatnot. More
Yeah,
so.
I probably could have came a little bit more armed, but I wanted it to be
I
more of a
was
discussion-based thing anyway.
Everybody, I want you guys to know I was armed to the fucking T.
With this one? Or with what?
With several.
Oh, yeah?
I had fucking couple questions asked, how I felt about things to tie it into the reference, and holy fuck, don't leave an unsaved draft in your iPhone's notes when you have a fucking
Well, you always
update.
save stuff first.
Oh,
and
he
foremost.
I
it might have been
fucking
really confusing.
goofed.
Michael wrote a bunch of questions for me for my interview and then lost them.
And a bunch of other stuff.
So he's
And,
big
yeah.
sad.
Fucking,
Oh, you had other stuff? Man,
See-
that's big sad. It's okay. It'll come back to you.
See,
if it's
I'm
important.
doing as I'm saying. I'm going off of instinct on this one.
you don't have free will. I do. Fuck out of here.
I mean, I have free will, but I also can.
On what authority do
Well,
you,
if I
you
could
claim that I don't
have
have
the-
free will, but you do?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I could have the free will to run by instinct instead of just thinking about it.
All right. Well, before we keep rambling
That's another
on for,
rabbit hole.
before
Yeah,
we
we
keep
need to-
rambling on for another hour,
But yeah, just remember, whatever makes you live a better life and not being a dick and like leave the earth a better place.
Slide-
Just do it. Just
slide
do
in
it.
our DMs.
Make
hit
that
us up
choice
on
or don't.
Shut up,
Just don't be a
David.
dick.
Shut up, David. Let Michael talk.
slide in our DMs. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Email us. Fucking
Give us
send
a
it-
review.
give us a review, no matter
Please.
how you feel, because it might be all predetermined. Who knows?
Yeah, you're predetermined to give us a 5-star review.
Or
Or
not.
are you?
Or you're
Or-
going to use your free will to give us a 5-star review.
Yeah. So, just fucking let us know how you feel. You got questions? Ask questions. You got future topics you'd like us to discuss?
Yeah.
Fucking
yeah.
hit us with
Get
it,
in
dude.
contact.
We're down for anything at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
And if you're listening to this, I want to say I appreciate you and all that fun bullshit. And I'm
hope
going to
you
let
had-
Bailey finish this. Shut up, David.
hope you had fun with this wild ride.
Yeah, sorry, this was a lot of like rhetorical questions and just open-ended discussion, but hopefully it was still interesting and thought-provoking for you guys. We've got more focused discussions / debates coming up. We're actually gonna dive into a series basically up next on arguments for God's existence and determining whether or not they hold up and whether or not they make sense. So that's where we're going next. So thank you so much for listening to this episode, and we'll see you next week.
Love you.
Goodbye.